I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investmentpitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Rachid Ajaja, the founder and CEO of AllianceBlock. Rachid, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time to be here.
Hello, Ashton, and really thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. I'd love to kick off our interview by just starting with, what is AllianceBlock? How is your platform working exactly? And how does it bridge traditional finance with decentralized finance?
Okay, yeah, so AllianceBlock, the aim, our vision, what we want to build is the world's first globally compliant decentralized capital markets in order to bridge traditional finance and decentralized finance. So actually it's been 1 year, all 2019, we have spent it into worldwide incubator, specifically in London and in Zurich, Kickstart Innovation, where we had the occasion to speak with financial institutions such as Credit Suisse, PostFinance, Swisscom. And what we noticed is that most of these financial institutions, they are really interested into asset tokenization of financial instruments. But actually, it was really complicated for the institutional to enter these markets. Mm-hmm. Why? Because of few reasons. So the first reason is there is no recourse, no dispute for this institutional. If you take the traditional markets, you have always centralized authorities where you can do these disputes or recourse. The second problem is that you have multiple blockchain, and each blockchain, they have their own standard of the tokenization of the financial instruments. So imagine I am a bank A, I use, for example, Hyperledger, and there is another, so I start doing tokenization, and you have a bank B that they are using, let's say, Ethereum or Corda. So another one, they are using Algorand. So it's very, very complicated. Mm-hmm. And this is why it's really difficult for this institutional to use them. And actually, the third problem is that you have, what we speak about, the interoperability. Okay, there isn't enough interoperability in order to be able to trade cross-chain these digital assets. So, and of course, the most important problem, what we are solving is the cross-border transactions and cross-border regulatory and compliance. Lots of tokenization platform, what they are doing, or they are tackling this problem by putting all the compliance and rules within the tokens. And actually, we don't believe that it will work, because if sometimes you have complicated financial instruments, or you have rules that are constantly updated, and this is what happened basically with compliance and regulation. So what we want to do, and taking all these problems and all these pain points, so we saw that if we want really to build the bridge between decentralized finance and traditional finance, and make institutional finance like go into this tokenization era, is by solving the cross-border regulatory and compliance. Mm-hmm. And this is why really the heart of our protocol, which is infrastructure, to build these decentralized capital markets, is to be able to build this cross-border regulatory and compliance layer, where when you do a transaction, you want to issue, you want to invest, you want to trade, whatever you want to do with these tokenized assets, you will be able to have the pre-trade check, so which means you will comply with the rules. And so instead of waiting for the regulations to come to the blockchain, so we are using the current regulations and compliance rules that financial institutions are using, okay, and we adapt the tokenization to them. So this is exactly what we want to do. And by solving this problem, we will be able to create framework where exchanges, crypto exchanges, tokenized platform will be able to plug to our protocol, and hence being able to use it in a compliant way and have the flow of money from institutional finance.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting, Rachid. And yeah, there's a lot of problems you pinpointed there, and there's so much benefit to having this decentralized finance ecosystem, but it's getting past these hurdles of the regulation, as you said, of the interoperability of different private ledgers and the issuance of the tokens. How do you have that compatibility? And your team has been working on this platform for quite a while now to make sure you get all the kinks out. And obviously, it's very complex with all of these different faucets. So in what way are you, now you're leading up to the launch, how have you solved all these problems into one ecosystem and made it easy but not too complicated by solving all these different little problems?
Yeah, so actually I would say our narrative and our ambition, it was constructed by all this experience that I have spoken earlier, but specifically the last 4 months, where we know exactly where we are going. So instead of doing, like, we are not a tokenization platform, so we are infrastructures that will help all different service providers to plug to our protocol, leveraging the cross-border regulatory and compliance layer, and be able to provide their services in a complete compliant way, where financial institutions will have access to them. And also financial institutions will be able to provide services or new services to their clients. Okay, so where we are now, so we have started our technical roadmap, which we should release by December, where we will show exactly what we will do, our strategy, and the first products we will build. And actually, we are very, very excited, because we cannot speak about it right now, but in the next few weeks, we will release really our use case, where we have already some interested clients that want to use it, and we will be able to start the implementation to have the product released by end of Q1 2021, early Q2 2021.
Very exciting. And the decentralized finance space right now, throughout 2020 at least, has grown exponentially in terms of the value that's locked into decentralized protocols. Went from 1 billion in the spring to over 11 billion right now, and that's a tenfold increase. And everything's going so quickly. Do you see this as the right step in the direction towards a larger decentralized finance ecosystem? And how does AllianceBlock play a role in that specific part of DeFi?
So indeed, you are totally right. So we saw a huge increase in short amount of times, and basically this is crypto. What happened in 1 month crypto, it's like 2 years in traditional world. So when we saw like all these amazing things that had happened, so we spoke about liquidity farming, yield farming, liquidity mining, and all these new things that are happening right now. And we are showing like that we had a boom on all this decentralized finance application, and then it stabilized a little bit. So in my opinion, we're like, as what exactly happened within the ICO period. So we saw like a huge boom, then we have a burst, and then we will see all the projects basically that are building a good product with the market fit. They will have clients. We will see the growth. So I believe that this wave that we saw, the huge increase, it will go down bit because there is a lot of speculation also, and lots of projects they will not maybe deliver. But then we will see a huge increase of all these projects that are taking seriously this decentralized finance. And because we saw a lot of amazing projects, you have projects that are trying to tackle the peer-to-peer lending, the credit risk. You have projects that are tackling the liquidity aggregations with thanks to our partners, for example, Orion Protocol, and so many other projects that they are building amazing things. And I think it's very, very important step for the next, in order to have the adoption of crypto, but also the wave of decentralized finance. And we speak a lot with financial institutions, traditional ones, and there is a huge interest actually in this decentralized finance movements, because it's opened so many doors, and it can be leveraged in an amazing way. And that's why, like, I think we are at the right time, at the right place with AllianceBlock, especially. We've been speaking about DeFi since 2019, so you can check this in our green paper where we speak about decentralized finance ecosystem. So we've been speaking about decentralized finance before even we hear about this all what we are saying now about decentralized finance. And we think that we are at the right spot. Why? Because we have the solution where we will bridge these two worlds. And as I said in the beginning, is thanks to compliance and regulations. And by solving this problem, actually, we will open a door to all these decentralized finance applications that are doing amazing products to the institutional finance world. And this is also like why we think this is really exciting and it's the right moment.
Yeah, it's definitely a very exciting time. And from what it looks like, your team has been focused on this from before the hype even started, and it looks like you're not trying to rush into it to jump into some short-term gain. This is really about changing the industry for the medium to long term, and also just allowing those institutions to get involved and that big money to be able to transfer value around. So that's really exciting, Rachid.
Exactly. Yes.
And I want to focus a little bit as well on the AllianceBlock token, because you do have a currency that's built into the platform. Can you just talk a little bit about how that works within the ecosystem, how it provides value?
Yeah, so basically our token is designed, so we spent a lot of time designing the token economics around our tokens, and we think that the token need to have like a very, very important place in our ecosystem. And that's why if you see the most important thing are, of course, the staking, the reward for the community and all the people that will join the network. We have even like in our smart contract, if you check CoinGecko and you see all our smart contracts which are completely public, we have the node smart contract where we will have 150 million tokens, which is 15% of our supply that will be completely dedicated to the nodes, and we never go to the circulating supply. And it will be also the medium of exchange, of course, and it will be also the fuel of our network. All the transactions fees, especially for our first product, where we will have, let's say, two parts: issuer, investor, borrower, lenders, and all these kinds of people that will interact within this network will be able to will use ILBT for the transactions, and it will be the fuel, as I said, of the network. And of course, also we are having what we call the token burn. So we will have two burn mechanisms. The first burn mechanism is everything that we will receive in terms of fees, there will be a percentage that will be burned. So in order to have stability of our tokens, but also something very important for us, because we've been supported by the community since 2018. And I think this is something important also to show that like we care about our community, and we have a percentage, or once we have our product, once it go to markets, once we have our clients, there will be a part of the revenue that we'll have from our product that will also be used to buy back the tokens and burn them, or to go as a reward for the community.
Yeah, that's great. I think that that's a crucial part of the ecosystem, to have the community, which with a lot of these projects, it's really community grown and community led from the beginning. So to be able to give back, it makes a lot of sense. Now, the platform is soon to be launched. Do you have there's a lot of parts. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of parties to have an infrastructure platform, especially that's cross-compatible with cross-border payments on the regulatory side, as well as the different infrastructure for different parties that are issuing, whether it be on Ethereum or Corda or Hyperledger, as you mentioned. And how future-proof have you made the platform so that if there are new regulations in new jurisdictions that come in, or there are new blockchains that are issuing a different type of token with a different standard, and that comes in the future, how future-proof is AllianceBlock built for that?
Yeah, that's really interesting question, and really good questions, because we've been, the way we want to build our protocol, so we call it more protocol, it's to be evolutionary. Because regulations are always evolving, and also like the new technology are always coming, and in crypto there are amazing technologies, and it's built like so fast with all the research are being done right now. So in order to answer to your question specifically, so we will have different type of nodes. One of these nodes are institutional nodes that will run nodes for our network. And what will happen actually? So there will be law firm, regulatory and compliance experts that will check all the updated rules in compliance and regulations in multiple jurisdictions. So at any time, any moment, if there is a change of the rule or updates of the rule, there will be a proof of authority consensus. And so the first one will, for example, say, okay, we have this rule that changed, updated, so he will push it. And then when there is consensus and all these participants will agree, so it will be pushed to our logic. The logic will be pushed into our smart contracts, and it will be automatically used in our rule engine for these cross-border compliance rules.
That's great.
Okay. Yeah. And also, you said something about if there is any new blockchain or any new blockchain or new standard. So for us, the token is basically a derivative of, we speak about tokenization of financial assets. So the tokens is a derivative or is representative of the real assets. It could be shares, it could be bonds, or it could be whatever financial instruments. And these instruments in the traditional world, they will sit, for example, in central security depository. So I think our edge is, instead of having all these standards with different blockchain, we take the tokens which represent the real assets and is completely linked to the central security depository. And if there is any transfer of ownership, any trading of the tokens, the protocol will communicate it to the central security depository, and hence we will have this communication between the decentralized world and the traditional world, where the traditional finance can always be able to do business as usual, and they will not depend on the standard of multiple blockchain. And you can do this with any blockchain, whatever the standard they have, because we don't use the standard of the blockchain, but we use only the token which represent the assets.
Very cool. And I think that's definitely the way to approach it moving forward towards the launch. And we're running out of time, Rachid, but can you explain a little bit about how can the viewers get involved with learning more and getting into the community before the launch, and as well with the token? I believe it's already available as well, and how can they access that?
Yeah, exactly. So we are available now on Uniswap. We've been approached by many exchanges, and on our community, lots of people asking about centralized exchange. But actually, we have a very, very important narrative, which is compliance and regulations. And we are very careful about which exchange we'll work with. So we will have a big announcement in the next few weeks about centralized exchange, which fit perfectly our narrative and perfectly with regulation and compliance. And also we will have amazing news in the next few weeks. It will include big partners in the traditional finance, in decentralized finance. We have our products that will have like amazing impact on decentralized finance as a whole. And then also our first use case, which will be our products. So people can check all our information on our websites, and exclusively here we will release our new website with all the information. And also we have our Telegram channel, of course, and mediums. We release lots of blogs, lots of mediums to explain for educational purpose about regulation and compliance, about digital assets, tokenization. And all these are very important also to show the community what we are aiming to do and why we are relevant in this industry to bridge the two worlds.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Rachid. I will leave those links in the description box below for the viewers. All the best with the launch for AllianceBlock moving forward, and let's follow up in the near future.
Thank you very much for having me again, and it was really interesting to be here. And for the anecdote, it's my first interview, so I'm really happy to do it with you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.